Hi, I'm Raees Mohamed, founding partner of R.M. Warner Law, and today we're going to talk about the top 5 things every e-commerce entrepreneur needs to know. Number 1 on that list is proper terms of service and privacy policies on your e-commerce platform. And I can't tell you how many entrepreneurs come to me with either inadequate terms, no terms at all, or maybe they copied terms from somebody else's website. And here's the deal with copying terms. It's copyright infringement. It's somebody else's work product. You can't use it. Plus, how confident are you that those terms of service are actually accurate, complete, and legally protect you? Not to mention the fact that with privacy as big of a problem as it is today, your privacy policies are a contract with you and your users. You better make sure you're doing exactly what they say they're doing. So number 1 rule, have proper terms of service and privacy policies drafted by a competent lawyer. Number 2, make sure that you own all of your creative content and creative works. How do you do that? You have to do everything in writing unless the work is being done for you with an employee. So for example, if you're hiring a social media agency to create creatives for you and to post on your social media platforms, you need to make sure you do that in writing and that you have the proper intellectual property assignment provisions so that your company can own the IP. If somebody is an employee working on the software or working on the content or working on the ad copy, you're usually safe because by statutory rights, the employer owns that right. So number 2, make sure you do all of your creative works in writing. Number 3 on our list is to make sure as an e-commerce entrepreneur that you are addressing false and defamatory reviews. It's a call that we get frequently. What do I do about false reviews? Can you get them taken down? Can we get them deleted? And the answer to that question really just depends on what the review says. But it is an absolute problem in today's marketplace where a competitor may post a false review. Or perhaps the review is not even a review at all. It's by somebody who never had your product or service and they just want to take a shot at you. So make sure that you're policing those reviews. If it is something that is false and defamatory, meaning it's not simply a truthful bad experience, we may be able to help you get it taken down. You have to remember to do it timely though, because the statute of limitations in many jurisdictions, like in Arizona, is 1 year from the date of publication, which means it's 1 year from the date it was posted, not 1 year from the date you learned about it. So police your review pages, your Google pages, your Yelp pages, Facebook pages, or wherever else consumers may be talking about your products, perhaps even YouTube, and make sure you address them. If you come to us timely, sometimes we can address it through a demand letter. Sometimes we have to go through expensive litigation. Really depends on what's happening. Item number 4 for every e-commerce entrepreneur to be aware of, and those are the FTC rules, better known as the .com disclosures. FTC rules are pretty broad. They're easy to comply with, but oftentimes e-commerce entrepreneurs just don't follow the rules because it takes an extra few minutes for you to look at your ad copy. So make sure you comply with the .com rules. One example of that is easily tripped up is failing to identify a paid promotion using the appropriate hashtags or any disclaimer at all. You can use the hashtag ad, hashtag sponsored content, hashtag brand ambassador. There's a litany of different options, but make sure you use them and make sure you use them in a way that discloses the requirement for the entire duration of your video or your post. It can't be something that just flashes once and turns off. It has to be static. Also remember, the FTC rules prohibit deceptive advertising. So other than the .com disclosures, deceptive advertising prohibits you as an entrepreneur or an influencer from making claims that are unsubstantiated. What's an unsubstantiated claim? It's one that doesn't have a factual basis, one that doesn't have scientific evidence to back it up, or has no factual basis whatsoever. For example, wrinkle creams. You often see these advertisements on Instagram that these wrinkle creams will make you wrinkle-free and solve your 11s. There has to be substantiation for that, which means an independent study to back that up. Another issue to worry about, if you're using influencers, you as a brand are liable for what your influencer says. So it's the influencer and the brand or the company. It's not just the influencer. It's not a defense to an FTC action to simply say, I didn't know what this influencer was doing. Some 22-year-old, we told them to do it in writing. you have to police the ad copy. That means reviewing the copy, making sure that it complies with the FTC disclosure requirements, deceptive practices requirements, etc. Don't forget this important step. It could make the difference between you having a winning campaign and getting shut down, and even worse, fined by the FTC. And the fines are not cheap. We're talking about $15,000 or $45,000 per violation. The fifth thing every e-commerce entrepreneur needs to know is to make sure you have set up the proper legal entity for your business. That means don't do business as a sole proprietor. Every e-commerce platform, every ad copy should be owned by an entity. That means not you personally. And if you have more than one owner, make sure you have your internal governance documents established, which means an operating agreement if you're an LLC, or shareholder agreements and bylaws if you're a corporation. The biggest mistake e-commerce entrepreneurs make is they do business with people who sometimes they don't even know who they are, or they don't have the proper ownership structures in place, which just leads to disputes and could lead to personal liability. So number 5, make sure you have all of your legal ducks in a row when it comes to a business entity. If you have any questions or if you have some comments for us, check out our blog at rmwarnerlaw.com and check us out on social media. Leave us a comment or send us a message if you have any questions.